Hey guys, and welcome back to Garden of Kaylan.
Where plants run free with jokes and clumsiness. Let's make it green and wild in the Garden of Kaylan.
One of the most difficult things about houseplants in the winter is styling them. Once I bring them in for the winter time, I don't want to just plop them down. I want to actually style them in a way that's both functional and in a way that suits their individual needs. And that is something that has proven to be especially difficult for someone with over 300 plants. So I really have to utilize the space that I do have very carefully. I like to use things that lift my plants upward so that they go kind of vertical. Right here, I have a shelf with grow lights, of course, and it's pretty straightforward. But this little space right here is where things get a little bit tricky. Number one, I love these tiered plant shelves. You can't see the whole thing. Can we just appreciate this Philodendron Columbia for a second? That is looking so gorgeous right now. But anyway, behind it, you can see that I have a plant on one of the tiers, and it's really three. So this is the middle one. There's one a little bit lower somewhere in this section. If I pull this out, well, that's pretty annoying. But anyway, you can see the lowest tier right there. That's the lowest one. And then, of course, there's one up a little bit higher. And if you can get over the spilled anthurium behind it, this variegated syndapsis is starting to look so beautiful. Oh my gosh. It is so gorgeous. I recently had to put it up on a trellis, and I think it looks great. And just here, my philodendron green sky is on the third and highest tier. So that's one thing I'll use. I'll just use like regular plant stands. So in this whole little section, behind all the greenery are a bunch of stands, a bunch of tables, a bunch of things that just kind of lift plants up. That way they're not all fighting for light or kind of getting leggy trying to reach the light. They all have kind of their fair share of light access. So these plants are up on a little table, and then even on the table, I have things that lift some of the plants up a little bit higher. I use a lot of little tricks that kind of just elevate the plants. And I aim to keep the bigger ones in the back, like this right here, this alocasia. You see it in the front right here, but the pot for it is all the way back in front of this window on the floor. So I do things like that. Another thing is this anthurium right here. That's getting really big as well. That's on the floor, kind of pushed back in the back too. I have a window right here, and then there's two more in this room as well. So if I don't put the grow lights in front of them, they would all kind of reach for that window. So having the grow lights in front just helps them to point towards me, like outward, instead of trying to all face the window. And then, of course, the days are getting shorter. So like I was talking about before, I have to pay attention to the light. So you saw I've got vertical lights. I also use pendant lighting. But another little trick that I use is mirrors. Since the mirrors reflect light, it's just such a big help to have them. And I'm kind of just realizing people probably think I'm trying to run some kind of like fun house. And one time somebody made a comment about me being a witch. I'm not really sure what mirrors have to do with being a witch, but for the record, the only spirit in here is the Holy Spirit, honey. But seriously, it's such a good way to brighten up a space, and it helps my plants. So yeah. I have a cabinet here with more plants, but one of the cool things about this is the grow lights in here obviously support the plants in here, but they also help the plants like next to it and on top of it. So well, not this plant, but this one right here, you can tell that the leaves are facing towards the light source from in here, and it just helps keep it, keep it going. These plants kind of survive on this window alone. I recently had to chop up this Monstera constellation, and I put it in stratum. I had it in just water before, but it wouldn't do anything. And look what it did in the stratum. I have a root growing out and then back into the pot. Okay. I mean, it's not looking like great right now, but I think it's going to come around really soon. Keep some little cuttings right here. I found this at Target. I was so happy. Oh my gosh. I usually have this lipstick plant a little more tame than it is right now, but I haven't really wrapped it. It might need a bigger trellis. Oh, and one of my favorite things to use for my plants in these shelves are these magnetic, like I think they're spice holders, like for your refrigerator, but I put plants on them. Oh my gosh, they are game changers. So I like to use a lot of things that lift, a lot of things that make my plants go vertical. This Esmeralda seedling right here is actually not this tall. It's just up on like a little tier, I don't know, riser that I got from the Dollar Tree. So yeah, I use whatever I can, y'all, as you can see. And in addition to the grow lights that stand or kind of stick to the ceiling of my shelves, I like using these little clip-on lights too. They're not functional in every space, but for this little shelf with this Hoya sunrise, oh, why do you have a pen? Where did you get a pen? Give me the pen. Thank you. Get it. Get it. Oh, get it. Get it. Oh, get it. Get it. Get it. Anyway, so it's perfect for this little shelf with this Hoya sunrise, which, by the way, I had it on for like 3 or 4 days straight without turning it off. You can see where it's like sun stressed a few leaves, which was the idea, but like not that much. I really want this plant to look like that plant, but it's just not happening. I spend a lot of time in my bedroom sleeping or just watching TV. You'll see my living room. I don't really spend a lot of time in there, but any place in this house, like my office or my room, is gonna have, any place that I spend a lot of time in is gonna have like the most dense population of plants or things that are plant related. I just love the idea of having like plant related items. Like even this pot, some people hate when terracotta gets like this, but I absolutely love it. Something else my neighbor pointed out was that I have a lot of plants and a lot of books in here, and I didn't even notice, but in every room of my house, except for the kitchen and bathrooms, I have plants and books. I think it's pretty safe to say that I really like both of them. And just really cool looking stuff like this little leaf plate thingy. Even this little table alone, I got it at like an estate giveaway sale thingy, and I painted it, and yeah, it's perfect. Perfect for this little spot. Right up here, I have this little philodendron micans, and I think that it's doing okay, maybe. I don't know. It gets light from this door, from our front door. There's also a window here, so it's getting low light, but it's getting by. I'm not able to put a lot of plants in our living room because we have little monsters running around and I don't want them getting like knocked over. But I do love this little corner. It was perfect because where it is such an awkward spot. I didn't know what else to do with it. So I just put plants here, and it's great because we have a south facing window right here. And yeah, it gets pretty decent amount of light. I have more books and alcohol that's more so decoration. I'm not an alcoholic, y'all. And then like this cool looking record player that my parents got me. This little shelf that I got from Ross. I have my Staghorn fern mounted right there. It's not mounted on the shelf, but the thing that it is mounted on is just on that shelf. I love old stuff. I love books. I love plants, everything in one little spot. It's perfect. I also have this lamp that is a shelf. Put plants on that too. Y'all, I'll put plants on everything, I swear. Like I was saying, I'm not able to put a lot of plants in my living room, but I do have this little area right here. And this shelf right here was actually supposed to be for a bathroom. Like this was supposed to be for towels. As you can see, I have a Hoya hanging from it. You'll quickly see if you haven't already, I kind of use anything for plants. Right back here, this little oval shaped mirror is perfect for this little wall. Plus it reflects the light. So as you can see, more mirrors, but it works. I swear it works. I don't keep a lot of plants in the dining room either, but there are a few. And as you can see, more mirrors that just brighten up the space a little bit more. And I have a hanging plant up there. And then I have a few right here on the kitchen cabinets that have seen better days, but you know, it works out. And then of course, right here next to the dog bowl in this corner is an alocasia. And I know when I have to water it, when the leaves are touching Lucky as he's drinking from his dog bowl right there. So I'm like, okay, time to water you. In this window, I have this one little lone monkey tail cactus. I searched everywhere for this. I finally found one. And then this is what I ended up getting. So my hopes are high for her to get better. This little plate actually came with 3 little planters, but I moved them because I wanted her to have this whole little space to herself. And yeah, she's doing what she's doing. One of these days, I'll be able to show you a big old pot of it, but this is where we are. And look at this. This is my tomato plant. Y'all, I cut the tomato plant twice already. It keeps growing back. Like I'm trying to be done with this for the winter, and it still keeps coming back. What do I need to do? Oh, and before I forget, I just have this little philodendron radiatum or something. It's called something now. They've reclassified it or renamed it, but yeah, that's just there chilling. My sister got me this plant hanging thing for Christmas, and it is absolutely perfect in this space. I cannot stop obsessing over it, and I wish I had a few more of them, but I just love hanging plants in like a really cool way. I love displaying them in ways that like are less conventional. This whole section is like kind of linear. I think it just really sets off the space. And even this little shelf right here is like linear. Like you see how the metal bars kind of like just go straight down. I just thought it was kind of a cool touch to the space. I used to keep a plant here on the table, but I just don't want to look at fungus gnats while I'm eating. So now I don't keep anything on the table. Even if I put like some cute placemats or like a cute tablecloth or a runner, it's going to be destroyed. So yeah, we're just keeping it plain here. And can I just say, I love this pendant light right here. It's imperfect, and I think that's why I like it. In a lot of ways, I'm very anal about things being right, but if they're not supposed to be right, I want them to be perfectly not right. And these hanging planters are some of my favorite hanging planters. They were way too overpriced, and I got them anyway because I couldn't pass them up, and I'm so glad. I never regretted it. I'm so glad I got them. But I keep simple plants right here just because they don't get a whole lot of light, and I don't want anything fussy right here. And I got a philodendron Brazil up there in this cute little Walmart planter. I know the light isn't looking very great right now, and I just watered these, so they're looking like still sad. But I love these little bubble, I guess they're supposed to be for terrariums, but I love these little bubble thingy majigs. I got them from the Dollar Tree. I lie to you not, these were $1. And I have them everywhere now, and I put plants in them. On my stairs, I really have to take it vertical because we have 3 boys and they're stairs. And just because this corner is a little bit darker, we have a mirror. But yeah, I love how this mandula looks on this just plain black stand. I think the black really makes it pop more, especially against a white background. But white is really not my friend on the stairs where my kids are like constantly rubbing their hands on the wall. So I'm really planning on painting it. I just haven't decided what color or if I want to do wallpaper or what, but this is just such a like contractor build, just plain Jane stairwell. I really want to make it incredible, and it just takes time to think something up. I don't know. Despite the white walls, it's a really convenient spot to have these plants right here because they are growing towards this window. And I love how this philodendron is climbing the wall. It needs some water though. And then I have other plants that tolerate kind of lower, medium light pretty well. And they all just grow towards this window. So yeah, this is a nice spot. Once I get it painted and get rid of this carpet, I feel like I can have the stairs looking really cute. Another mirror right here for this spot, and just this little corner shelf. These plants are doing too great because I tend to forget to water them, along with this shelf right here. So I like the idea of having a shelf here, but I feel like I just want to redo the whole thing. I don't really have much on it. And the same thing goes for these plants here. I just want to get them looking better. I just want to revamp this entire section, but because I haven't painted the stairs yet, I guess I don't pay it that much mind. I do love the plants in the upstairs hallway though. I have some really simple ones right here. And if you're downstairs looking up, you can see the plants kind of growing down over this. And I think that's going to look so good once they fill out a little bit more. But I found this birchwood. I didn't find it, but I got it from some kind of nursery. And it took me forever to figure out what I was going to do with it. And so it was such a relief when I finally found something that I thought looked good. And I'm just really obsessed with this whole little area right here. I love it so much. I got this basket planter from Walmart, and I felt like a ZZ plant in here was just such a perfect mix. I think I really have a thing for like natural woven things. I just have a thing for it. I've noticed that I kind of gravitate towards things like that, along with anything that's like natural wood mixed with metal. I don't know if that's just trendy or what, but I noticed that I tend to go for that a little bit more. I have this little ficus right here. This window right here is the only thing supporting all of these plants. And so I figured that the ficus wouldn't be very happy here because I just couldn't keep it happy. And this is where it finally started thriving. So I guess it likes it. I guess the Syngonium likes it. And then on this wall, I just have another little hanging planter. I feel like I should have gone for another color besides gray because the wall's already gray behind it, but you know, it is what it is at this point. Maybe I'll spray paint it one day. I don't do a whole lot in the kids' room. I just have a few hanging baskets here. And, you know, obviously I have to keep things up off the ground because they're kids, but I do have a few right here. I try to keep very simple and easy plants in here because I will forget to water them. So anything that's like finicky or, you know, very sensitive to lack of watering or whatever, I can't keep here, but these have been doing fairly well. And then there's my office. And like my bedroom, I spend a lot of time in here, so there are lots of plants in here too. Not as many as I keep downstairs because I don't have enough space for that up here, but yeah, I do have quite a bit in here. And this is also another spot where I use a lot of mirrors and light tricks just to brighten up the space. I do have one window in here, but literally there's only one and it's not that big. At least it does get some southwest facing light. So it's bright enough all day, but in the afternoon, oh my gosh, I have to close the curtains because it's way too hot in here. I use a lot of shelving because I don't have that much floor space and it's carpeted. So I don't want to, you know, I want to kind of minimalize the stuff that I have on the floor. You should have figured out right now that I will basically use anything I can put plants on, I will. So this is like just a little shelf. I usually put bigger plants on here. I recently had to take one off of here though. Well, it fell off, so I decided not to put it back on there. And then I have my humidifier there. I have another humidifier on the other side of the room that I'll show you soon. But that humidifier just supports this entire wall of plants. It gets nice and humid. And some days I can't even leave it on all day because it just gets, it'll be like 90% humidity in here. This little spot right here is a bookshelf that I have plants jammed into. Well, there's some books down at the bottom too. You can barely see them, but they're behind there. And that light is pointed pretty much towards this entire section because the window the light kind of goes right there, like in this area. So yeah, I just add a little extra light to these in this darker corner. Hard to tell right now that it gets pretty dark right there, but it does. In the mornings, it's a little bit dark. One of the things I like to go for are cool ways to hang plants. So you can hang them from the ceiling, but this, I don't even remember what this is for. I think it's for like lights, if you want to hang pendant lights, but obviously I decided to hang a Hoya on mine and I think it looks absolutely perfect on here. And this is sturdy enough to hold the weight of this Hoya. I like to use macrame too, so you'll see that a lot in my house. Like I buy packs of maybe 6 at a time. I love that they're interchangeable. So if I wanted to hang a different plant in here, if I want to move this Hoya and hang something else in it, this will spread out and I can hang something potentially bigger in it. And I like that diversity. I like that I can switch it up as much as possible. Love the disco ball. You're not a plant lady if you don't have the disco ball. And depending on what time of day, Knox comes in here and he's so impressed with, I don't know if you can see right now, but he gets so, yeah, you can see. He's so impressed with how the reflecting little squares are all over the wall. He's just so enamored by it. Yeah, I got some Hoyas. I got a Syngonium, and that one is kind of hard to see it because of the light coming through. But this wall right here is kind of the star of the show in this room. I think that's because they get really, really good amounts of light and humidity. I have a pendant light up there, as you can see, another macrame hanger. One of my favorite things on this shelf is my little Lego set that my kids got me for Mother's Day that they absolutely refused to let me put together by myself. But you know, at least they got it. At least they thought of me. This room is a really good mix of hanging and shelving and just all types of things that keep them off the floor, but still have them somewhat neat. I don't really use a lot of lifting features in this room. Like, I think there's one plant back there, my Monstera dubia, that's on top of look, this is on top of a candle. So, or it was a candle. I burned it all out. So yeah, I will use anything that is sturdy enough to hold a plant up. I will use it. I love this pot. This is one of my favorite pots, especially up against these. So I noticed that I like natural colored potting and like just anything that looks kind of natural and cool. I'm going for it. You see the theme here. This is another really cool pot. And then right next to the door, this little shelf is so cool. My neighbor made it. And I'm like, can you make me a few more of them? Like, this is perfect for me. This is my style. It's like natural. It's not, it's imperfect. And I love that about this. And then I have another hanging pot right here. And it's just hanging from the ceiling, just chilling. But I went ahead and switched out the string on here because it was metal at first. And I wanted like more of a natural look. And it worked. This is the perfect spot for this mirror because it reflects directly across the room. And when the curtains are open, I mean, this room is, I'm not kidding, it's scorching in here. And I have changed this area out so much. Like I recently added another cabinet. This shelf is kind of on the newer end. I got it from Target when it was on sale. There's my other humidifier right there. And that one supports this part of the room. It's 68% right now. I like to keep it like around 75. So I'll probably turn it on later. Oh, another thing that I want to point out is I put a ceiling fan, just a mini ceiling fan in here so I could help the air circulate a little bit more. And it has I've really noticed the difference since then. So looky here, we have these candles from Bath & Body Works. I love them because when I'm done, they fit these little pots in them perfectly. I think I have like maybe 20 of these throughout my plant collection because I'm constantly using them for my plants afterwards. This back row of plants, I like to push all the way back because the light is here. So they'll face the light. I want them all pointing this way. So they'll face the light and then the ones in the front will face this light and then the shelf ends up looking perfect. This corner right here was a little bit trickier because I couldn't push this shelf up against the wall. It just didn't look right. So I had like this blank space that I wanted to fill in. And I think I went a little bit above and beyond on filling it in. So you can't tell, but this Choco Empress and this Mayoi are up on like something that's used for your shoes, like a shoe rack for your, like maybe your, front door or something. So I have those on there. And then you can't tell back there, just right here in this corner, is a philodendron Florida that was literally growing up this wall. I had to chop it back. Watering all of these is quite the nightmare, but you gotta do what you gotta do. And then my favorite part of this section is my metal mannequin that I'm now using as a plant trellis. So I have just this little cute pot hanging on it, like this little smiley face pot hanging on it. And yeah, it's just gonna grow all around the mannequin and make a little Mican's dress. It's gonna be so cute. So that's what I'm working on. And behind this giant Sherbericii right here are like some little honeycomb little shelves that I got from the Dollar Tree. I have plants on there, just little things that were propagations but are now like full grown plants. And then look how gorgeous this Thai pink lipstick plant is. Oh my goodness, the way it cascades down is crazy. I feel like I should move it. I should move it so that you can see it like it should be a star and not just kind of in the background. And I'm also a little bit anal about how my cabinets look on the inside. It's a little bit harder in these to get it to look right, especially when, you're jamming a bunch of plants in there, but I tried my best. I can get the top shelf to look okay, but the bottom shelf is what I struggle with because there's not a lot of height to it, and I have this ugly heat mat on here. I just let it do what it's gonna do. Look how freaking gorgeous. This is one of the newer leaves, and it's the first perfect one that I have on here. So I'm very proud of that. Everything else in here is generally pretty happy as long as I keep them watered, and they're doing great. This is why I jam stuff into these cabinets. This is a newer cabinet, so this is a second one that I put in here, and I decided to put this shelf right here at the very top as high as it can go so that I can put some taller plants in here. And that worked out, except for, they outgrow this too. So they just outgrow it a little bit slower. I don't think I've ever even shown this plant on here, but this is the Anthurium boboense, I think is how it's said. And I finally got a new leaf. I've had it for like 9 months, 8 months. My rugosum that I recently had to cut is in here, and both propagations or both plants in here are now growing beautifully. I used to hate moss bowls like this that were like that the plant can't grow into it, but I love that I can bend and shape this however I want it to look. And it was honestly the only way I got this plant to fit in this cabinet. So I went ahead and ordered like a 4-pack and you'll see them throughout the house now. And look right here, I have another one of those magnetic shelves and I keep my Hoya cuttings in here because it's very, very bright. Obviously the grow light is right there and the Hoyas love it as long as I keep them watered. Notice I keep saying that because I do forget to water stuff very often. And it gets hot in here, so that's not something I can really afford up here, and I still do. The top part of the shelf is not my favorite, but I do try to keep like some of the bigger, taller plants in the back and then just kind of put the smaller ones up front. This is the main reason I do not do succulents because look at this. They hate me. The top of these cabinets is my least favorite like plant setup because it just doesn't have any type of flow. Literally plants are just put on there. I tried, but it's been very difficult trying to figure out like how to design this and make it look in a way that you know, flows, that looks natural. So like usual, I have the bigger ones in the back and most of them, I think almost all of them are in naked root planters in the back, except for this variegated Adansonii. And all of these plants have just kind of grown so big. But then the issue is I don't have anywhere else in the house to put them. So since bringing my plants in for the winter time, this is just how it's been looking. I just have to put, you know, bigger plants up here and they're happy up here. I'm just not very thrilled with how it looks. I think this is like my healthiest begonia. I don't know why the other begonias hate me, but this one has treated me so well. And all of these are cuttings. So I was very surprised. My tortum is also looking really good. I wish I had a spot for this all by itself because these thin, like wispy leaves just kind of like that's blurred. It's not neat enough for me. So one of these days I will find the perfect spot for this tortum, but for right now, this is where it's living. And I love this pot. It's such a like, I don't know, fun, bubbly pot. It's cute. And then my little desk setup, I don't have a lot on here. It's kind of a raggedy desk already. Like you see all that. So I didn't want to put any more plants on it and destroy it any longer because I can maybe get a few more years out of it. And I love these little plushies. I have another one back here. Anything kind of plant related, but like way too childish to put in my living room or like downstairs, I've just put it in here. Like, look at this candle warmer. That is the cutest thing. I said I didn't have any plants on my desk. I definitely have a little ZZ right here. I got this idea from Harley G on YouTube. I was like, oh my gosh, I have a useless lamp and a plant that needs somewhere to go. And it just, it worked out so perfectly. That was a genius idea. And I mentioned that my TV was up on this, but I mounted it, which my sister told me this TV is way too small. And now I can't stop obsessing over it and I can't unsee it. And now I absolutely need a new TV. So if you can't tell, I'm very easily influenced. But yeah, this is my TV stand that is used for everything but the TV at this point. And I just keep some stuff that's okay with moderate light on this one. And another reason why it's so filled with plants is because I hate my cord showing and I'm trying to get it to grow like a little bit higher up so those cords aren't showing anymore. And then there's this really cool lamp. Y'all, let me tell you about this lamp. All my life, this lamp has existed and it used to be in grandma's living room. And whenever we would come in, I just remember the sound of her like clicking the light on. And yeah, so it's a very special lamp to me. And yeah, I just love it. I love it. The second row, I only have like 3 plants on here. But that's only because my Nintendo 64 is on there. If you know, you know. But yeah, my husband got that for Christmas one year. I got some controllers back there. And yeah, it's still functional. We got like all the little things to make it work with the TV. And my kids are like, Mom, these graphics are terrible. And I'm just telling them, you had to be there. You just had to be there. Anyway, I have a few Hoyas here that are doing okay. Y'all, all these plants up here need watering so bad. Like, I'm pretty sure there's some spider mites lurking throughout this whole little section because I have just not been on top of watering. Grandma has been in and out of the hospital, so it just sucks. It sucks really bad. A Hartley philodendron right here in this cute little woven basket. I got this from Marshall's. Yeah, it was a lot fuller, but it was a little bit too full, so I started it all over. and it's already on its way back. So yeah, that is my little humble, tiny little office. Hopefully you get an idea of my like individual style and just things that I do to kind of make it look better. It's not perfect, but it's me, and so I love it. So you guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Do not forget to subscribe if plants are your vibe, and I will see you in the next one.